Yeah, let's make some foam. Wow, Ron, that stuff really expands.
Yes, it does, Kent. This product is shot on at about 1,200 pounds of pressure and about 150 degrees heated to the gun, and the exothermic chemical reaction of the two products heats it up about another 40, 50 degrees. So about 200 degrees and 1,200 pounds of pressure, and it actually expands at a ratio of 1 to 120.
Boy, that stuff, it covers every nook and cranny, doesn't it, Ron?
You can bet you there's not going to be any cracks and voids with this product in the wall, and we're going to eliminate all those other infiltration factors that we were concerned with.
Ron, I noticed they're shooting every other panel. How come they're doing that?
Well, there's a reason for it, and it facilitates the trimming. And if you'd like to step into the next room over here, I can show you how that's done.
Okay, let's go.
The first of those special areas that we were talking about with a home, and it's what we call a subfloor. And we see a lot of this today. You know, the architects are trying to use every square foot of the home that they can possibly use.
Absolutely have to.
You know, and we see a lot of what they call bonus rooms out over the garage.
Right.
And that's what we're looking at, is the floor or the subfloor of a bonus room. And with traditional types of insulation, fiberglass, cellulose, that type of thing, due to gravity, you know, those products are going to fall away inside, and you're not going to get any insulation.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've had a lot of homeowners that have complained to you over the years that, you know, this one room, they just can't keep cool, and that's usually that bonus room that has this subfloor. But as you can see, our product welds itself to that subfloor, seals it. It's never going to shrink, it's never going to sag, and what you end up with is a bonus room that's just as comfortable as any other room in the house.
Boy, that's tremendous. It makes that over garage space very functional.
Absolutely functional. All right, Ken, here we are looking at another area that requires special attention, and this is the truss ends, and that's the end of the trusses between the top stud plate on the first floor and the bottom plate of the second floor.
Right.
These are just typical problems for air leakage in a home. If I were to ask you one more time, how would you insulate that with traditional insulation such as fiberglass? What would your comment be?
Well, not very easy. In fact, you got less than 16-inch width up there, and they just have to stuff it up in there as best they can.
Okay, so it's another cut and paste and patch job. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
What would you do about a vapor barrier on that interior wall up between those truss ends?
You can't get a vapor barrier up in there.
It just can't happen, can
No.
it? One more time, I got to say to you, Kent, watch Selection 500 go to work. Any doubt in your mind that those truss ends are closed?
I think they're fairly well sealed.
Think we're going to have any air leakage up there?
I don't think there'll be much air getting through that particular cavity, which is good. Well, that is fantastic. Even in between those small gaps in the trusses there, he fills those up.
You ready to look at another special area?
You betcha. It's great.
Okay, Kent, this is another one of those special areas that we've talked about insulating with foam. We're looking at a typical kitchen wall, exterior wall, and we have plumbing and water supply piping and wires and electrical outlets and all sorts of penetrations in that wall. If I were to ask you to insulate that wall with fiberglass or one of the other typical insulations that are around, how would you go about it? What would you do?
Well, it'd be a cut and paste job around all that piping and electrical boxes in there.
Okay, cut and paste, and the fiberglass, as an example, would end up being compressed. And what happens to the R value when you compress fiberglass?
It goes to almost zilch.
Okay, so we've got minimal insulation with traditional insulation techniques.
That's correct.
Watch this.
Oh, Ron, look at that foam just surround all that piping in there. That is
Is there any doubt in your mind?
That's unbelievable.
Another area we're looking at here, Kent, that just really can't be addressed by other insulations are vaulted ceilings and cathedral ceilings that we see in many, many of the homes today. Again, those architects have gone nuts and trying to make them look pretty. If I were to ask you to insulate this area with a traditional insulation, fiberglass and that type of thing, what's going to happen with time?
Well, it's going to be nailed up there and then sag down and almost go to nothing over time.
Another thing we like to address is air conditioning duct leakage. the vent side of the air conditioning system operating at a positive pressure and the return side operating at a negative pressure. A lot of leakage. Plus, the return side is the primary source of dust leakage